God, I tried to be so professional.
It looked good. What are you talking about?
I wanted to be the most smoothest.
No one. Here's the thing. I'm James Wesley. This is my husband, Seth Brodetsky. Welcome to Stars in the House. That is part of the appeal, Seth. That it is not a slick show. This is a show.
My hair is so slick. I literally had to put oil in it because it was literally out to here. So I just put all this oil. Look how greasy it is. Look at the greasy. Wow, look at the baldness. Anywho, hey guys, I'm Seth. I gotta be literally back here to look good today. We've been working until like 5 seconds ago because I have all these ideas for the show and James has been researching. The point is, Seth, James, this is what's the name of the show? Stars in the House.
Well, it is, by the way, show number 43 in 3 weeks. So there you go.
But it's all good. It's all for the Actors Fund. All these people are volunteering. What do we have to say about it? Oh yeah, so what is the Actors Fund? The Actors Fund. People, it's such a misnomer. Why do I feel like I'm out of sync? I'm gonna take myself off screen for 1 second.
Hold on.
What about now? No, am I out of sync?
People will tell us. People in comments will tell us.
So, that's the introduction. So the Actors Fund is for everybody in the business, on stage, off stage, in front of the camera, behind the camera, acting teachers like Gene Cousineau, anybody who needs bucks. Except for maybe, actually, Gene, you know what? No, it's not for him. But it's for anybody else that's legit.
Legit acting teachers.
Sorry about that. They can go and they can get help because basically nobody is working. And the Actors Fund pays for things like people's rent, people's health insurance, whatever they need. How much money are they giving out per day right now?
$250,000 in direct financial assistance to professionals in the performing arts around the country for the most basics of a health insurance premium, as well as rent or finding them a home.
Or groceries. So it's amazing. So the fact that people have been watching for 3 weeks, people have been donating. Nobody is working. The fact that people are donating is just incredible.
Right. We're astonished every single day. And so far, Seth, I have to look back here. $165,700 has been raised for the Actors Fund. We're talking about, yes, we've gotten some larger donations, but most of that, I sound like a political candidate. Most of it has been from small donations, like $5, $25, $50, and $100. I mean, it's been amazing. All across the world, really.
My friend from high school just referenced my old theater teacher in reference to Gene Cousineau. Whitney, that is hilarious. Do not make comments where I can see on YouTube. Sorry, I got thrown. But yes, guys, thank you for all the donations. You go to starsinthehouse.com, donate whenever you can. We've been finding out we're getting donations like between midnight and 8 because people watch this when it's live, but then they watch it all over the world when they're like not asleep.
Right, or the Pacific Coast. Yeah, exactly. It's been amazing. And I say we've got such a great cast here. I say we bring them on. Of course, Dr. LaPook will be with us later on for any updates for today.
Yeah, we have a chief medical correspondent.
As every show should.
Entertainment and chief medical correspondent. Okay, so here we go.
Let's go.
This is the TV show Barry. James and I are basically obsessed with it. By the way, it's the annoying thing where I told my sister Nancy about it, and then the next day she'd watch all. She literally watched both seasons. So it's like, wait, you can't now be ahead of me. It's made me so angry.
Because it had been on our list to watch. Full disclosure, it had been on our list for a long time, and we were finally like, we've got to see it. And of course, we couldn't stop watching it.
We watched like 3 a night, like a normal person. She literally watched both seasons in 2 days. We were so angry.
But it really is, by the way, for the times that we're living in right now, it's the perfect show to binge watch. It's 30 minutes. There's 16 episodes.
It's a little dark, but the's so much humor that
there's humanity there. But there's a lot of humanity. So I say it's a perfect thing to watch now.
Okay, so you're going to do the introductions?
Why are you doing?
I guess I am. Okay,
here we go. You're here on the controls.
Okay, my fellow Canadian. I'm not Canadian, but I am Jewish. Sarah Goldberg. Hey.
Hi,
Sarah. Okay.
Oh, congrats, you guys. What you're doing is amazing.
I'm so excited. We're going to talk about how she just got booked for this like 45 minutes ago. So I'm so excited doing this.
I had washed my hair today. You're in luck.
That's what Anthony just said. Anthony literally just took a shower. Okay, please welcome Stephen Root, who spells his name like Stephen Sondheim with a PH. Hi, Stephen Root.
Hi, everybody.
Hey. You're not in
my old map.
Map in the background. Okay, please, by the way, I literally called Henry right before the show because I was panicked. He couldn't get on. And a woman answered. I'm like, hey, is Henry there? It's actually Darcy.
Oh.
So
Darcy.
It was me.
Why we're calling your number instead. Just saying.
I liked it. It actually makes perfect sense with our characters, but like I would be the
you would be able to answer. So
I would.
So codependent.
Yes.
The man who just took a shower, Mr. Anthony Carrigan.
Yay, Anthony!
So cool. When you come.
So
Wait.
close.
I got to get my glasses.
Yay!
Are you frozen? I
What
think
up?
your
What up?
iPhone is
Yep,
frozen.
big
Or you're
shout out.
acting.
Put on some clothes, you know, not just sweatpants. So very excited about that. Very proud of myself.
By the way, your audio is amazing, but your face is completely frozen, so it's completely creepy, and I support it. Okay, so maybe find a place with better Wi-Fi. You were so good yesterday.
Okay,
in the
I'm on
sound
it.
check.
I'm on it.
Okay, I'm taking you out for 2 minutes.
Get on it.
And then
Okay.
the man that we're all codependent for,
Yeah.
brilliant Gene Cousineau himself, Mr. Henry Winkler.
Clap.
Yay!
Hi, Henry. Now, do you guys like it like this? Oh, I like this. This
Oh,
is
this
better.
is good. Yeah.
I'm wearing my Gene Cousineau-esque kind of jacket.
It's so gross.
You know what is so great about this is that we haven't seen each other since the 18th of March. We
It
were
might have
going to work the very next week, and we all went home, and that was it.
We had a table
Yeah.
we irresponsibly hugged multiple
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
And then we were sent home, and that was it. And our chain has been very active. We've been sending lots of jokes and videos, but you've given us the reason to wash and a reason to see each other. So thank you.
I know it was so nice to have to brush my hair.
I think Anthony
Let's see if Anthony
possibly
looks like
fixed
he
it.
moved location. So let's see.
Let's see.
Let's try it now.
This is
A
good.
little better. It's a little better.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Anthony,
Yeah.
On my screen,
Good.
you are like on a board sideways.
Oh,
well, Henry's
Yeah.
Okay.
like using an
am I
old
still
desktop in 19.
freezing? Am I good or no?
We
You're-
just can't hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
you can't hear me?
Just
Yeah, the
come near to your
a
mic.
little louder, yeah.
Little
Oh,
louder.
no, hang on.
No, we can hear you just like louder.
Wow.
Okay,
you should-
okay, cool. I'll project. You use my
There it
fake
is.
voice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Henry's
Okay.
always directing. Okay, by the way, FYI, I had to say this to the cast of Taxi and Frasier. The software we're using, if anyone talks at the same time, both sounds cut out. So basically, when someone's talking, everyone has to just sort of nod in agreement
Mm-hmm.
and then inhale as if they're going to speak, or else everything cuts off. So just
I got it.
thank you. Okay,
Okay.
Darcy. Wait, Darcy, I love that you're sort of. Are you like right where Rocky was filmed, where those stairs are?
I know this is a weird setup, but it's the best light. The best light in my house is on my staircase, and I think the lighting is the most important thing, right? Not the background.
Well,
Definitely.
let's ask Henry. Henry, what's happening with that light?
Darcy looks good with a bag on her head.
That's true.
Henry.
Darcy is the light.
Save the ass kissing for later. So we gotta go back to the beginning. We love it so much. So Sarah, first of all, where in Canada are you from?
I'm from Vancouver, so just north of here. Yeah.
You mean Vancouver.
Vancouver. Yeah.
Okay, so we're all just wondering, how did everybody get their roles? Sarah, how did you get your gig in the
Oh,
show?
goodness. Oh my gosh. Well, I auditioned multiple times. And I met Henry Winkler at my audition, which was a very special experience.
Tell. I love this story.
wow, what
Details.
else? Yeah, come on.
Well, it was my second audition, and I was really nervous. And I was meeting Bill, and he'd asked me beforehand if I was comfortable improvising, which I was not. So I was extra nervous. And there was this girl going in ahead of me, and she was pacing back and forth. So she was making me more nervous. And I thought, okay, I've got to hide. So I ducked into the stairwell, much like Darcy's right now, found my light, though nobody was there to witness me, and started, rehearsing my sides in the hall. And then I just felt the presence of greatness come by me. And Henry walked down the stairs, and he pivoted and did a 180, and he stuck his hand out and he said, "Hi, I'm Henry." And I was literally like, I live in New York, and I was like, "Hi, I'm hallucinating." I was like, is this what happens in LA when you go to an audition? The Fonz is just like here. So anyway, we shook hands, and he said, "Are you about to go in and read?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Break a leg." And I said, "Thank you so much, Henry. How did yours go?" And he said, "You know what? If I had an answer to that question, I'll tell you this much. I had fun." I mean, it's like what everybody needs before an audition is Henry Winkler. Is just the thumbs, giving you a little bit of luck. So anyhow, yeah.
It's such a recreation of Sally, though, before you went in, the crazy
That's what I
hiding in
was
the
thinking.
stairway.
Right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, actually, there's so many meta layers to this show, and that was one I had not thought of. So thank you for bringing it up, making it. It's all so weird. Sometimes we find ourselves at work, and it's like, is this the scene within the scene within the scene, or yeah.
I have to show. I have this one of my favorite Sally moments. Let me make sure I know what this is. Oh yeah, so one of my favorite Sally moments because it's just amazing. Because you really are an honest person, but at the same time, you're such an erotic and self-indulgent actor that you can't ever stop yourself. So I'm just obsessed with as you're talking honestly, you're still qualifying what you're saying with complete narcissism. Here we go. I'm obsessed.
I'm terrified, okay? Because my piece is real. It's not a character, it's me. Raw, unapologetic truth with a capital T. I mean, all caps, actually, I'm thinking like a writer now. I mean, this was stuff that I couldn't even talk about without lying. And here I am about to strip naked in front of a bunch of strangers and share something that I am massively ashamed of. Not literally, I don't believe in nudity unless it drives the story forward.
Guys, I'm so impressed with your setup. Because
I know.
like, bro.
That was me a half hour scrambling.
Right.
And David Katz, that is so hilarious. So that's purely scripted, right?
Well, yes, it was sort of a joint effort. Bill is very gracious with his words. I think coming from sketch comedy, he often says, you know, here's the scaffolding and lets us all have our little play with it. So yes, it was a combined effort. But yeah, it was really fun shooting that. We did it in one take, and well, we did many takes, but you know, like time run. So it was a cool experience. It felt like theater, which was really special. Yeah.
That was one of the questions I wanted to ask all of you. Is like the characters. They're broad, but there's a realness and a naturalness that we love. So I'm curious, like, what is it when you get the script the first time and then to the end of the episode and you shoot it? Like, how much of it changes? Like, how much input do you guys have in it?
Well, okay, I'll just say this, that both Alec and Bill are very generous. And they have enormous structure. They know exactly what they want from each episode. And then in that structure, you've got freedom. If you say something, Bill will burst out laughing on camera and know it's in. Or he'll say, oh, could you say it this way? Or Alec will come up and say, could you just try it this way? They are unbelievable leaders.
They're one head, oftentimes, and one will speak for the other. And if Bill's on camera, then Alec will direct. And it's all, they seem to be very simpatico together.
Stephen Root, how did you get the gig?
I'm old.
To everybody.
No, I think it was an audition. I went and auditioned for Bill, but it was very late in the process. They were looking for a Stephen Root type, and it was like, dudes. And we just had a great fun audition, and it turned out to be strange because what I auditioned for wasn't what ended up in the show. We shot the pilot, and the character that I was playing was very much more of a yell, scream guy. And when they saw that, they went, okay, there's nowhere to go from there. So Bill and Alec figured out, well, let's make him a bad uncle. You know, again, start out really slow and like, it's okay, I'm going to take care of you, da-da-da. You're a fucking moron! But that's where we'd started with it. And I think it was brilliant that they rewrote it and we got to reshoot it.
I mean, it is true, like, he is Barry's closest connection, his most loving friend, and yet he's a horrible, Stephen, you know, your character's a horrible person also.
Horrible person. Really the worst.
Good to know. Oh, yeah. Dark, you're on like 2 hit TV shows. Isn't that called Every Actor's Dream? And you're sipping tea. I love it.
Ginger tea.
Yeah.
You know what? I was speaking of auditions. I got this gig and the Good Place gig in the same month.
Okay, that's
wait, hold on. I should have said it better. I should have said I spent an entire lifetime of not getting anything, and then I got these 2 in the same month. So Does that make sense?
What did you do, like, the first big, like, what had you done before TV wise? Just like the best friend that rolled her eyes. Like, what did you done?
Always
before?
rolling my eyes. Like on TV or not on TV?
I guess on TV.
You know, on TV, I had a sort of small reoccurring part on the Comedy Central show Broad City. Highly recommend it in this binging time. And you know, like a small part on Amy Schumer's sketch show. Really, truly, that is it. It was a lot of. I was doing a lot of UCB, so like live comedy, sketch comedy, improv comedy in New York, and then moved to LA and doing more of that, auditioning a lot, but not making it happen.
No. And then you were allowed to do both TV shows. They weren't like, you're not allowed to do both.
I lucked out because Mike Schur, the creator of The Good Place, and Bill and Alec all know each other, and it was truly. It's so funny how these types of things it's so many people, so many cooks in the kitchen, sort of like making the rules. But sometimes they can just go like, oh, are you fine with it? I'm fine with it. We'll just make the schedule work. Okay, great. It'll work. And it did. The first season was a little rough with the going back and forth because it was shooting at the same time. But other than that, it's been just a dream come true. Rough. I was loving it. It was the best rough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Okay, Anthony, hold on.
Anthony, okay, we're so obsessed with your character.
Yeah.
That you're funny. We're like, who is this guy? It's hard to be scared of you. And we're just like, is he making this all up as he goes along? It's like, we want to know what your audition was. Like, what was on the page when you first saw the character?
Well, the audition itself is actually, it's something that's going to make everyone else very angry because I went in one time for Sherry Thomas and Sharon Bialy, best casting directors in the world. Went in one time, and then they showed my tape to Bill, and Bill had actually called me and was like, I was supposed to go in and test, and Bill had said, he was like, hey, you remember when you did that thing? That was really funny. So just do that again and do that thing again. And can you just say that thing again? And nothing kills the performance more than just telling someone what's funny. So I was terrified, but fortunately I went in one time for it, and that was it. And as far as the character goes, I mean, what was on the page, I mean, you don't get that very often, where you get like a Chechen mobster who's very polite and sweet and thoughtful. So I was just very curious myself as to whether it was going to work, but I don't know. I tried something in the room. I have no recollection of it, but the rest is history, I guess.
What's your accent based on?
Yeah.
I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I went down a real rabbit hole with Russian, just Russian do-it-yourself tech videos. Yeah, there's a long list. There's a very long list.
It's an amalgam of just weirdness.
Yeah, totally. I mean, as to create a character, I kind of like to just throw a bunch of random stuff in the pot and just kind of give it a stir, and then who knows what really comes out. But it's been an absolute joy, though.
For us as well. And Mr. Winkler, this is your first big role ever, right?
I waited a lifetime, and then in the same month.
Oh. Jesus, you're bragging.
That's me.
So, I mean, it seems like the role was literally.
But you know what I do? I combine the two characters.
Go back. Did Bill Hader just say?
Love it.
Like, was it literally written for you? Because it just seems so you.
No, they actually told me this. It was written as a much darker, meaner person, based on a real guy. The only fact I will tell you, the teacher actually forced his students to buy his art. Now, they probably didn't have enough money to pay him for class, but he made them buy his art. But as I started, they, like Stephen, they went, oh, right, we can do it this way.
Yeah.
And they made him more the Gene he is today. And the Gene that's coming in the third season,
Well, the end of that second season. By the way, my sister's commenting because we are all obsessed with how you take a break, and which is always constantly, it's either tight 5 or loose 10.
Hard 15.
Hard 15.
What are those based on? They are so funny.
I'm telling you, those boys are the creme de la creme. They are, and they write either in the room with, they have 5 other writers with them who are just a joy, or off the top of their head, all of a sudden Alec walks in the middle of a scene. He said, what if he said this, and then leaves?
Yeah. They get it. They really, those two guys really love all the characters so much. They like get such a kick out of every character, and they're in real life, they're like, on set, they're so giddy, don't you think?
Yeah.
They get like so giddy about this. In real life, Alec is like pretty stoic, and you know, Bill can be stoic or he can be goofy depending on his mood. But on set, they are like really excitable and they get really giddy about the whole show.
There's like this line you do, Henry. Oh wait, you want to say something before I interrupt?
No, I'm just going to say that Alec is so stoic. I think that his vest is tattooed on. That's how
This is one moment I want to show you, but what I love, because what I want to say is that every character, especially if you're in the theater business, they're so real. So I'm going to tell you something that happened in real life, but I want to show you how I feel it replicates it. So there was an actress I knew that was working on Broadway in a show that was a hit. I mean, but everyone's done that. And let's say her name was Lauren.
No.
So let's just say that. So she walks into Sardi's and someone says hello. So I'll be Lauren and you say, hi, Lauren, and I'll show you what actually happened. So I'm walking to my table.
Hi, Lauren.
Thank you. So we're obsessed with that.
and how fast it happens.
Oh, that's really
We have to put that in.
Definitely.
That's where we're taking that.
That's very Sally season 3. I
Sally
think.
would definitely say that.
On it.
So this is with the audition.
Hey, Sherry.
Jean Cousineau, always good to see you.
Thank you. It's what I do.
Oh,
First of all, always good to see you. That's what I'm here for. What? Like none of it actually makes sense.
that scene actually breaks my heart. That scene kills me.
Mhm.
It's like Eunice in the Mama sketches from Carol Burnett. That's what Henry's character reminds me of.
Huh.
You know, it's
when she goes to the Gong Show,
heartbreaking
yes.
and real, yeah.
Or it's like in the movie Fame when Boyd Gaines is the waiter at the end after being the star student. But by the way, Henry, what's in your book when they're reading the book and it's like Delta Burke, such a bitch to work with. Like, what does it say? It's like some stupid quote about someone that you work with that no one cares about. What is it? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
No, I absolutely don't. But here's the thing. I have been there so many times. I have auditioned and just for one line when I first started. And then, okay, thank you so much. Do you want to see it any other way? No, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Yeah. And then you never hear from them again.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
And then come back.
Sure, yeah. Let's bring in
we,
Dr. LaPook.
We've got to do a medical break for Dr. John LaPook.
Cool.
Somebody take a tight 5. Such a name dropper. Okay, Stephen Root, I'm gonna go away, and Brady, and good old Henry, and then the fabulous Sarah, and then Anthony, and Dr. John LaPook.
Hi guys.
Hi, Dr.
First of all,
LaPook.
Dr. LaPook, these are the kind of parents that I have. My stepmother called me 11 in the morning. Hello? Why didn't you tell us you're on TV? Like, I didn't really know we were going to be, and why aren't you more happy about it? So tell us about the amazing CBS piece you did this morning. It was so incredible.
Well, did you see it?
Yeah, when I got home, we were
We
at the
did.
vet. So we were at the vet, and we got home, we saw it, but I was like, what are you mad about? But anyway, so go. Talk about
And wait, is everything okay at the vet?
Yeah, our dog has really bad allergies, and we have to get her an
They were
allergy
very
shot.
good. They were really great. When we got to the parking lot, we called them. They came out, mask, gloves. They actually they had us take off her collar and the leash, Mandy's collar and leash, and then they put a disposable leash on her,
Wow, that's
and
so
then
cool.
took her. I mean, they were really. And then the doctor called while we were in the car and told us what was going on. We told her what was going on, and
So there was no, I mean, they were super safe because
Yeah,
we would
yeah.
not have done it if it weren't. We knew
Right.
you would have kicked our ASS.
But you know, that little description, the collar, the disposable, that's what healthcare workers are going through every minute of every day across the world, certainly across the United States. The mental strain of thinking, okay, I put my gloves on, I've put what did I touch with my hands? Maybe I wiped them off. You know, it's constant, which is as hard as a lot of the physical and mental strain is. You know, it's just that the anxiety of having to pay attention to every detail because you try to make sure you don't get something that's invisible. Anyway, that reminds me of that. But why don't you say? I mean, far be it from me to talk about the piece that I did, but I'll set it up for you, which is that the cast of Beautiful and Jason Howland, who's the musical director, decided they were gonna do what they could do. He said it beautifully in the piece. He said, "Look, we're not on the front lines. We're not doctors. We're not nurses, but we can bring people together, and we can give what we give." And the first line of the piece, I loved writing it, you know, because I've been feeling it so much with what we're talking about. The first line was something like, you know, as social distancing keeps us apart, artists around the globe are doing what they always do, bring us together.
Right.
And the piece is all about the various artists who are doing that, and with a real focus on the fact that Jason got 80 people who were performers on Beautiful, on the Broadway hit Beautiful, about the life and times of Carole King, and did an upbeat, kind of jazzy, you know, little up-tempo version of "You've Got a Friend," which means so much to me, that song. I won't even go into that, but I was a senior in high school. It was a big song for me. So it means a lot for me. And very emotional from when my father died. I remember I played it at the piano and I was singing it with my friend who we sang it in high school. So it has a lot of overtones for me. And Jesse Mueller beautifully spoke about it and kindly agreed to do an interview. And Stokes decided to also talk about what actors do. And anyway, we put it all together. What did you think? And so what did you think of it?
We loved it. I mean, it was really beautiful seeing, first of all, the new arrangement was amazing. Because normally it's, you know, when you're, it's normally that, but it was like, it was just so sassafras. So the arrangement was great. I loved seeing all the different videos, and it was just a beautiful piece. I mean, I think the most important comment that I've seen today about the whole thing is, Dr. LaPook, your hair is amazing.
It's because I haven't done the YouTube video yet that tells you how to cut it yourself. But Laura Benanti, who was on, I know, Julie. Laura Benanti, who was on a little webcast called Stars in the House, a clip from that and talking about her whole effort to have. I mean, how beautiful is that for her to even have that thought that there are all these high school people who are in musicals and they can't perform. She said, "Go ahead, send them to me," and she's watched thousands of them. And then we had the New York Philharmonic and Sunshine Songs. Exactly. Yeah. Hashtag
post the video, and she really watches them, and all these Broadway people watch them. It's talking about that something bad is going on, but people keep finding the positive things within the bad.
And then there's you, and then there's you,
Maud. We're both Maud.
Then there's you guys, James and Seth, and you started this all. Isn't it amazing? You have this little light bulb, and then it goes off, and suddenly it's illuminating so many people. It really is amazing. So we took a little, you know, some stuff from Stars in the House, and hopefully people will, because Brian Stokes Mitchell, but you know, he yelled at me. He didn't yell at me. He sternly said, "You got to call me Stokes. If you're my friend, you got to call me Stokes." So anyway, Stokes. He said he got up there. He talked about how it's not, the Actors Fund is not just for actors. It's for all these other gig workers and the people who do the lighting and the best boy and the best girl and the key grip, whatever those things are. So it's everybody, but of course it's a global thing. I mean, that's this profession and the actors and the people around performing. But of course, it's happening in every corner of the United States and the world, and so it's a very universal theme. So at this time when we're all Jason Howland, what a beautiful little thought at the end when he said, it was so sweet. He said, "I've been here 17 days by myself, and I haven't had a hug." You know, so we'll leave that as a tease. That led to a nice little end of the piece, a little line.
It's so beautiful. I mean, the one thing I wanted to say medically is what James and I have really noticed over the last 2 days, after we had Gavin Creel on the show, who had COVID-19, and Laura Bell Bundy, is the symptoms are like all over the map. It used to be like, you have to have the headache, you have to have the fever. I mean, people just have all different things now. It's really interesting.
Yeah, we're learning new things. And the latest thing we're learning is neurological symptoms. So people can have encephalopathy, encephalitis. Enceph is like the brain. So inflammation of the brain. You can have confusion. You can have blood clots in the arteries or the veins in all over the body, but also in the head. You can have inflammation in the heart. You can have trouble smelling and tasting. We've heard that you can have diarrhea and, of course, cough and fever and headache. And so sore throat. There's a lot of things. That said, we do want to remind people that about 80% of people have relatively mild symptoms. Yeah. And the thing we keep coming back to, and it's moving forward a little bit faster, I found out today, but this antibody testing that's going to tell us whether or not you had it without realizing it, and therefore might have, little asterisk on the might, we're not 100% sure, might have some immunity or a lot of immunity to it, and therefore could consider going back to work or could consider at least not worrying so much about it, even if you're not a frontline worker. I was thinking anesthesiologists who have to put in the breathing tube, and it's very dangerous to do that. But just anybody who's sitting at home thinking, when am I going to be able to go out? Or as Jason said, when am I going to be able to hug? So if you have two people who are positive, you can, positive meaning, good positive meaning they've had antibodies suggesting they've been infected and that they're probably immune or they have some protection. Maybe they could, take the risk and do a little hugging. But I think it's going to help get the economy back on track faster if we get this testing, because people could be able to go back to work. It's going to give us a chance to get our arms around how widespread was this? Was this in New York in January and February, as a lot of people, including me, think it was? And so are more people immune than we realize? We have to do this on a wide scale, level. But getting back to me, what did you think of the piece this morning? No, I didn't. Anyway, I've gotten a lot of wonderful feedback from a lot of people. And I think, we're at that time where people need some good news. They need a feel-good piece. So for those of you who haven't seen it out there, it's on CBS this morning. If you go to the web, cbsnews.com, and then it says which show, and you click on CBS This Morning. Or if you just Google LaPook space something, let's see.
I think we're going to be able to get the website.
Yeah, we'll get the clip on starsinthehouse.com. All right,
Dr. LaPook.
You're going to come back tomorrow night, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Dr. Book, we love you. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Likewise.
Remove from screen. Let me bring back those clowns that star in our favorite show. Barry, how about a little Stephen Root?
Yay!
Hi, Stephen. a little Hank, as we call him in the business. A little Sarah. And Scary Anthony.
I love it.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Dr. LaPook, we have to ixnay you from the studio. Don't be sad, but we have too many people to slow us down.
Starting to slow.
Bye, LaPook.
Bye, LaPook.
Bye, LaPook. We love you, LaPook.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so Stephen, I got to just talk about this clip. You with that freak-ass child climbing on your face, that was... it was so over the top, and yet I 100% got it. That actually epitomizes the show where you can't believe it's happening, and yet you believe it's happening.
Yeah, she was unbelievable. This little actor, she was unbelievable. So good, right?
That was really her crawling around, right?
It was really her going up the tree. I mean, she climbed up that. It wasn't a tree, but it looked like a tree later. But she bounded up that thing and up onto the roof. She did that 3 times.
Stephen, am I right about this? Isn't she the child of 2 stunt people?
Exactly.
Is that right?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How old is she?
Oh, we want Anthony.
How old is she?
11 or 12?
Well,
Yeah.
I think 12.
So hold on.
So
a second.
talented.
Wait, what's
Gosh,
that?
she was amazing.
So by the way, spoiler alert. Hashtag spoiler alert.
Well, let's not do too much spoiler alert because people
No, it's
want to
not a big
watch
one.
it. Okay.
But when you read that moment, when literally, I won't say why it happens, but when your hands were basically glued to the steering wheel, did you go like, this is the, like, I mean, did you die? Like, what was your reaction?
No, it was just reading that script was killer fun. And then because it was so technically hard to do, we actually left that show for the very last show of the season, and we shot that last.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to show that little moment. Hold on, by the way, Anthony, we want you to read donations. I'm going to send you some donations, but we want you to read them in your amazing Czechnian accent. So just
okay.
So we're forwarding them.
Yes.
Correct yourself in a minute. But here's that moment that I'm talking about that I'm completely obsessed with. Okay, hold on.
Barry, kill her. Just take her off your face. I can't. Why? Because I superglued my hands to the steering wheel.
This is so real.
It's like Twilight Zone in the middle of a comedy. It was the greatest fun to do.
It just built. All right, so Anthony, we only sent you just a couple donations. But by the way, so if you guys donate more, we have a lot coming in. We'll keep having Anthony do this. It's your chance to be read by a Czechnian
Did you send him one
gangster.
or two different?
I sent just the first batch.
Okay, there's just a few, and then we have another one you can send to him.
Okay, hit it. Did you get it?
Oh yeah,
We can hear you.
Okay, but you can't see me. All right, so I'm doing this from my iPhone, so just hang on. All right. Okay, so let's see.
So
California, $50. New Jersey. Okay, so first of all, batch 1 of donations. We are super, super grateful for you. Patricia from California, sunny California, $50. Thank you so much, Patricia. Leonard from New Jersey, love you, Leonard. $25. Ooh, that's spicy. Anriba from New York. Oh my goodness, so much happening in New York. Best thoughts and wishes to you. Thank you for that donation. Also, Gotti. Gotti rhymes with body. Gotti's coming to us from Pennsylvania.
Yes.
I wish I could have had my full facial reaction to it, but I'm doing the best I can with limited technology right now.
Oh my gosh, no, that's great.
So keep doing. I just am obsessed. Like whenever you'll weirdly name drop like a weird American expression, and it's like, how does he know that? Like it's so modern. Like here's
it's kind of an art form to just almost get an expression, but just miss it, just get, that's, the Sonny and Cher, that's on you, babe. And he genuinely thinks that he's just nailing it every time.
It's so cool. Here's just one moment that I love here.
Yep. Hey, man. Are you seeing this beautiful morning?
What are you doing? How are you?
What am I doing? I'm set up to kill Paco like you asked me to. What do you mean, what am I doing?
Oh, right. Duh. Here's the thing.
It's so modern.
That scene was so much fun to shoot. It was so much fun to shoot. Also, because Bill, he was directing that episode, so he would just kind of he would throw stuff at me, and I just had to have my coffee cup and just be ready for anything at the drop of a dime, which is equal parts exhilarating and terrifying.
Give me an example. Like, what would he throw at you? What do you mean?
Okay, so that later on in that scene, I'm kind of giving him the breakdown of the DHL that he's gonna receive, a bullet in the mail, and Bill's just screaming at me. He's just because he's like, "Oh, you big bald fuck! Don't do this to me! Don't do this to me!" And honestly, each time he came at me with just more and more elaborate, offensive language, and I just had to smile and just come right back at him. So, Bill likes to keep us on our toes, but he never throws us anything we're not completely, prepared for.
So I have a question, just as a fan. You're not always in one episode. You're not all in the same scenes, right? So, but do you have a table read so you see each other at the beginning?
What's funny is that watching that scene just reminded me when we do our table reads and we get to see all of us. We celebrate and we hug each other and we're always so happy to see each other. But also in the script, when it gets to the title, when it says the songs, I don't know what it says in the script, like opening music and Barry titles, everybody goes. We never talked about it. We never said, let's do this. We do it every single day. But there was, Stephen, do you remember in season 1, there was, there was a scene that took place at my character Natalie's house, and Stephen's character shows up with all the acting students. And it was the first time that the acting class got to be,
they all came together, right?
Yeah, got to be in a scene with Stephen. And it was, so much of what happens for actors, like on set, happens obviously like at Crafty or hanging out in your chairs and stuff. So we got to actually hang out with Stephen on set, and it was really exciting to just, just to be together, because we had
so fun for me to see everybody in the world, because the worlds, most of the times don't connect.
Right.
That was a shock. When we first read all the scripts together, we went out to lunch together. We enjoyed each other.
We shared respiratory drops with our shared French fries.
And then it never dawned on you, but you never saw them again. Until the end of last season, I never saw Stephen on set.
They truly kick us out of the table reads because we stay so long. They say, you guys, you really have to go now. You have to leave, because we just sit around and
listen to
each other's hands.
We get booted out. Yeah. But we make an effort to try to get together when we can. But we love each other, and there's like this huge divide. And then like our crew goes off for the other half of the show. They go off to these crazy locations like the desert, and we're just in this lovely cozy theater. So they come back like sunburned, burned, and they have these like war stories, and we're all just like transparent and tight going, what were you guys up to?
Oh, Henry, you should tell them about Big Bear.
Yeah.
About where?
Big Bear. When Henry
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Big Bear is where my Gene Cousineau's house is. And it is way, and the Yiddish expression is Ek Welt, which is the end of the world.
Practicing his Yiddish for the Seder tomorrow.
Is it a beautiful house though? Like for real? It's not a set, right? It's like an actual house.
No, it's a real house. It's beautiful on the outside and about that big on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Who knew?
Yeah.
It's so lovely there. But James, speaking of table reads, we wanted to spend 5 minutes on this because it's so part of our lives. Henry, is it nerve-wracking for you to do a table read dealing with dyslexia, or it doesn't affect your table reads?
It affects me all the time. I'm now more accepting of my own inability, but I'm embarrassed all the time, because if I don't get the joke right or the cue right, I then throw the other actor off. And
you always do. You always get it right.
It's so, reading off the page is unbelievably difficult. I get the scripts early. I guess maybe everybody does. And I read it over and over again so that I have some control over it.
Henry is very, very prepared, and often is like not looking even down at his script. Like he already knows it. It's amazing.
And he's also, because I usually get to sit next to him in the table read, which makes me very happy. And he's so present with all of us. Like he's so in the scenes that he's just such a joy at a table read, because you feel like you're a few steps ahead once you look into his eyes. He's just so present, and he knows exactly what he's doing. And so, yeah, it's extraordinary, actually.
But inside, I am terrified.
That's typical.
Yeah.
No.
But isn't that just table reads though? I mean, table reads are now like, I don't know. They used to be like just really chill, and they are chill for the most part. But I feel like table reads are, they're a little anxiety producing, Like I know people who have lost jobs from doing a table.
Sure.
I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah.
You know what is interesting is to watch Stephen, because Stephen's hand has a pen.
Yeah.
And while he's reading, he's doodling at like supersonic speed with the language and the energy of what he's doing. It's like a brilliant to watch.
No, that's because I'm terrified as you are, Henry. It's just trying to be prepared. That's all.
Henry, when you were a kid, because you went to the same elementary school our kid went to, PS 87.
Right.
She was also dyslexic and she wasn't diagnosed. What was your academic ranking when you were a kid?
Honest to God, I'm in the bottom 3% academically in America.
And
people get 200 points on their SATs for just spelling their name correctly.
Right.
I got 135 over my name in math.
I believe it. And it, the problem is dyslexia is not diagnosed. So this whole time you just thought you were not bright or not. I mean, what did you?
I was told I was not bright. My parents were really so supportive in that area. They would call me dumb dog, but it just charming people.
I mean, it stays with you to this day, like you said. I mean, even with an Emmy Award, even though you have the loving support of all the cast, it's still there.
It absolutely is, because it's almost, like the duckling that kind of bonds with the mother and follows the mom. You are told early enough. That's why to every human being I've ever met, I always say you cannot joke with a child about saying you're stupid. You should know that by your age. Don't be a moron, because a child will go, oh my gosh. What are they saying? Maybe I am. Maybe that's who I am. Mm-hmm. And you don't forget it.
When did you finally find out that the reason you had trouble reading was because you were actually dyslexic? How old were you?
My wonderful stepson, who is now, when he was in the 3rd grade, Jed, who was a gift with the marriage, he was supposed to write a report, couldn't do it. I said everything that was ever said to me. Oh, come on. You're being lazy. Oh, come on. Go and do it again. We had him tested. Everything they said about him was true about me. And at 31, I found out I was not a dumme Hund. I had a name. I had something called dyslexia.
Oh, it's so fascinating. And what's sad is that to this day, kids are still not being tested young enough. It's so our cause célèbre to really get kids tested.
That is, and I don't mean this in any way. I spoke to politicians because I speak publicly, and the local senator is there from West Virginia. And you talk to these people, and the reason that children are not tested or money is not spent, they don't vote.
Ah.
And the problem is you grow up, you learn to cover up not being able to how to read. You grow up and think you're dumb, you can't read, and you can't function in society. And that's how criminals are born. They can't function in society. They can't read.
52% of everybody in prison around the world is dyslexic. Or 50.
Fascinating.
I did not know that.
They've fallen through the cracks and they are, what I say to every child, and I say this all the time, how you learn has nothing to do with how brilliant your thoughts are. Mm-hmm. How brilliant you are, because I'm living proof. I was told I would never achieve, and I get to spend my time with these incredible human beings.
It's such a great story. Okay, well, we will be in touch because we have a lot to say about it. Just for 5 seconds, I want to talk about your character again. I'm just obsessed with haughty theater teachers that know everything and yet know nothing. I'm just obsessed with this. Hold on.
I'll be there 9:45 to warm you up.
Wait, you're gonna come with me?
Absolutely. Every actor who's got a first audition brings a scene partner.
Really?
Since Shakespeare.
I'm going to get in that room any way I can.
It's so hilarious and desperate. Okay, we have another batch coming. Oh, is it batch 3?
Yeah.
Okay, Anthony.
I'm gonna send it.
Okay. All right. I'll try to memorize them real quick and then come back, in the flesh.
Whoa.
Wow. You are the Henry Winkler. Hold on one second. With the full preparation.
Yeah, send it my way.
There it is.
Okay.
Okay, let me ask Steven, what's been your favorite moment to film that you're like, I'm obsessed with this moment?
The most fun I had probably in the first season was while Bill was standing out on the hallway, I was getting beat up inside. And one of the takes that I did in that scene, I kept screaming out, Bill, instead of Barry. He was nodding and saying, no, it's it.
Speaking of being beaten up,
Yeah.
Darcy, how about your amazing fight choreography I just found? Look how amazing Darcy was learning.
Fantastic.
I just found while I was watching that, I was like, oh.
Hold on, he's back to check me in. What donations have we had, dear?
Okay, guys. All right. So listen, batch 2 of donations. Very exciting news. We've got Toby coming in hot from Texas. We've got Peggy from North Carolina. Thank you so much, Peggy. I appreciate you. We've got Mark from New York. Ooh, and Chris from New York. I wonder if they're in the same room, you know, just like living room, snuggling together, watching something, maybe body, who knows? So yeah, that's the latest batch.
Yay, maybe Patty.
So before we close out, I have a surprise for Henry.
Yeah.
So Henry, I was in touch with your lovely daughter, and okay, so hold on. I guess I'll get rid of everybody, but you guys watch because I have to get rid of everybody.
Wait a minute. Are they going to come back?
Yes,
Yeah, they're gonna come
are.
back.
I just want to say, I'm so happy to see you all.
I know, it's so nice to see you
Oh my
guys.
God. And Sarah, I am so happy you made the decision not to get on that plane and travel.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm here in my Airbnb.
Yeah.
I know, but
And Los Angeles, Angela, what do you call yourself?
Los Angelinos.
Yes.
Los Angelinos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
This rocking chair to support me.
James and Seth were coming back or no?
Yes, you're coming back.
Okay.
So
Let us
stay
watch.
there.
Let us watch this
Okay,
thing.
don't go
Stay there.
nowhere. Don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. Ursula, and then a little Sarala. So Henry, I was asking Zoe. I was like, "What shows does Henry like?" And we were talking about different shows. And one of the shows you like was Dear Evan Hansen. And I don't know if you know, but there was literally a kid in the show, the youngest kid cast in Dear Evan Hansen, who was like 15 years old. So I'm literally bringing Andrew Barth Feldman, who started Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway. Hi, Andrew.
Hi guys, hi Henry. I'm such a huge fan of you and all you people who aren't on screen, but I love the show so much. I'm so happy to be here.
How are you now? You play Evan?
I did. I played Evan for a year. I started when I was 16 years old. I played Evan on Broadway, and it was amazing. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
That is an amazing vocal exercise.
Yeah.
How did you do that with such a young voice?
Mm-hmm.
How many did you do it 8 times a week?
6. So no Evan does it 8 times a week. Everyone does 6 now, which is thank God.
How 6 is still.
It was a challenge. So Seth, I'm sure you'll find this interesting as well. We started. Everyone was just so in tune with my body and what I needed. So I was taking vocal lessons months before with Liz Kaplan, and then when I started, there were keys that were lowered for Forever, and If I Could Tell Her were both a half step lower, a couple of harmony switches, a couple of placements. By the end of my run, I was doing everything that we'd switched. So it was a.
You went back to original keys?
Yeah.
Wow, so much strength.
Your voice got stronger and stronger and stronger. Wow.
Yeah, and it also just like dropped in, like it just grew. My larynx dropped by
Now, can I ask you a question? Does it stay that way, or do you go back to your normal, and then you would have to do that again if you?
That's interesting. I just finished in January, so I hope it stays that way. I think it is. The lessons I've learned on how to use my voice. It was also very specific to that material, a lot of it, and kind of I've talked to a lot of Evans, and what everyone's found is that like by the end you're so good at singing these songs and you can't sing anything else. So it's all such a learning process, but
Okay.
I'm so thankful for that.
I only have one more question.
Yeah.
Just one more question. So you're sitting on your bed.
Yeah.
The play opens. You sing that first song, and you tear the roof off the. What is that for a young man? For that opening night, your opening night, and that's the reaction that you get at 15.
So there were over 500 people in the audience that I knew. It was all people that I knew, and they were all there to support me. But that night I actually dumped so much adrenaline that I called out my first Sunday, and I only did it once more, pretty much the entire run, but I called out my first Sunday because I didn't have any left. My body absolutely crumbled. It was the most magical night of my life. It was incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
But Henry, it's interesting you mentioned that first song because Andy would like to do something.
I'm gonna sing a little song if that's all right. I'm very nervous about it, and I always was every single night singing it on Broadway. But here's a little song that I'm going to sing right now. Okay. This is Waving Through a Window. This is that song you mentioned. I've learned to slam on the brake before I even turn the key, before I make the mistake, before I lead with the worst of me. Give them no reason to stare, no slipping up if you slip away. So I got nothing to share, no, I got nothing to say. Step out of the sun if you keep getting burned. Step out of the sun because you've learned, On the outside, always looking in, will I ever be more than I've always been? 'Cause I'm tapping on the glass. I'm waving through a window. I try to speak, but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an answer to appear while I'm watching people pass. I'm waving through a window. Can anybody see? Is anybody waving back at me? We start with stars in our eyes. We start believing that we belong, but every sun doesn't rise, and no one tells you where you went wrong. Step out of the sun if you keep getting burned. Step out of the sun because you've learned, On the outside, always looking in, will I ever be more than I've always been? 'Cause I'm tapping on the glass. Waving through a window, I try to speak, but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an answer to appear while I'm watching people pass. Waving through a window. Can anybody see? Is anybody waving when you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around? Do you ever really crash or even make a sound when you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around? Do you ever really crash or even make a sound when you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around? Do you ever really crash or even make a sound when you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around? Do you ever really crash or even make a sound? Did I even make a sound? Did I even make a sound? It's like I never made a sound. Will I ever make a sound? On the outside, always looking in, will I ever be more than I've always been? 'Cause I'm tapping on the glass. Waving through a window, I try to speak, but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an answer to appear while I'm watching people pass. Waving through a window. Can anybody see? Is anybody waving back at me? Is anybody waving?
Oh my God.
Okay, can I ask you a question? Could you do that again this time? No.
Andrew!
Wow.
Thank you guys. That doesn't always go that well, so that was great. That was good.
You little psycho.
Thank you for just bringing us out of our Corona funk.
I know.
So beautiful.
You guys thank you. I love the show, and I love the show so much, and that was so fun. Oh, thank goodness.
Right, Andy, that was amazing. Okay, you have to come back and sing more.
I'd love to.
And you're from my hometown.
Yes, Woodmere.
Woodmere. Hey, I moved the hell out when I was 17. I hated it there. All right, you're amazing. I'm getting rid of you, but I'm going to text you again, Andrew.
You're wonderful.
Thank you guys so much.
I just watched Andrew's, what is the Jimmy Awards I just watched his Jimmy Awards.
Yeah, which he went from the Jimmy Awards in high school to starring on Broadway.
Normal.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right.
Nonsense to you. I got 2 shows in 1 month. All right. We love you guys so much. This show is going to keep going until Broadway comes back. So probably a while. So we want to bring you all back again because today was so much fun.
We're around.
We're back.
Thank you all. And Arrested Development reunion. All right. We love you all. Thank you. Oh, wait,
Thank you for all your food.
hold on. One more time.
Bye, love.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you
Bye.
guys.
One more thing to say. Don't go
Now,
anywhere.
hold on, everyone. Tomorrow, our third in the Plays in the House series with Fully Committed by Becky Mode with the original cast member
Mark Setlock.
That's right. And tomorrow night is the entire cast of Young Sheldon. They're going to be with us tomorrow night.
And there's the final dog. Hold on. We always show
right.
our dog at the end.
Oh, my dog's in the other room.
We can wait for Here she is. Mandy.
Mandy. I hope your allergies are okay, Mandy.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow. Be safe.
Closing credits.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
All right.
Bye,
Closing
guys.
credits.
Love
Here we
you.
go.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Credits. Where the hell are they? They're there. Okay, here we
there
go.
we go.